One of my favorite foods that I love to eat, and I found that if I eat it twice a day, helps maintain my weight, even lose weight, and it's only pennies a day. And most people usually are intimidated on how to make it right. So, do you know what that is? Well, it's beans, of course. I'm going to be talking mostly about black beans today, but please know that you can substitute most beans, except for lentils. They're in a different category. Most beans are really similar in how we're going to prepare them. And also, I'm going to show you two recipes today on how you can use black beans or other legumes like garbanzo beans, pinto beans, white northern beans. Oh, kidney beans. So stay tuned. I hope that you are excited to learn about the wonderful power of beans. Beans are such a great power-packed nutrient. They're high in fiber and high in protein, and you just need to pair it with a grain to make a complete protein if you need to have a vegetarian meal or a vegan meal, or if you're wanting to save money, having beans as the center of the plate, even if you have just a little bit of animal protein, is going to help you save money on your budget. As a dietitian, I have to share a little bit about why on earth you're going to really want to be eating beans. So we already said protein and fiber, but there's also folate and iron, magnesium, potassium, zinc, copper, and manganese, really just to name a few. Really sad that the American diet is pretty void of having beans be commonplace in meals. Whereas other ethnic groups, beans are really primary and center of plate and used every day. So I'm hoping that we here will start to have more beans in our diet because they are so good for you and especially your gut. You want to keep your gut moving with the fiber. And when you have things moving through your colon, you don't have any foods that are getting stuck there and toxins leaching into your body. So beans really good for moving things through your body. One of the things that I love to do is make beans in large batches. And 1 pound of dry beans I find is equivalent to 3 15-ounce cans of beans because those canned beans are full of liquid. So there's not a full 15 ounces of beans in there. So I'm going to show you my favorite way on how I make beans easily. And I'll share what I would do with 1 pound of beans. We're going to open the bag of beans and we're going to sort it and make sure that there's no stones or other debris in the bag. And I'm also going to rinse it off to get any dust or other debris that might have come during the processing part. Looks good. Now rinse it. Next, you're going to add 6 cups of water. I always make sure I have filtered water. Add 1 teaspoon of salt. Salting the water while it's cooking actually helps bring flavor to the beans. The newer practice that I have is to add 2 bay leaves to the beans. Bay leaves are a wonderful ingredient that help bring out the savory notes to the beans. I've heard that for beans, bay leaves helps keep them more firm. I cannot verify that. I can verify that when you use bay leaves when you're making homemade pickles, that it does keep the cucumbers more firm. So it does make sense. If you know the true answer, let me know in the comments because I actually did a little searching and I could not confirm that fact. You're going to add the clean beans. And my Instapot, which is one of the originals, I have a bean setting. So I press the bean. I found that 42 minutes is perfect. I'm going to let it cook. After the product is already cooked, I wait about 5 minutes and then I will release the steam. I'm going to show you what I do to make black bean hummus. My husband actually loves black bean hummus much more than the traditional garbanzo bean hummus. And I will say, actually, my boys like the black bean hummus also. Truly, if you love garbanzo beans, use this same kind of base recipe, just swap out the garbanzo beans for the black beans. One of the key ingredients to making hummus is to have tahini. Tahini is basically sesame seeds that are pureed. The last grocery store I went to, the only tahini that was there was in a plastic container. Now, I realize that this particular one is in a plastic container, but once you have oils released from the sesame seeds, the oil and the plastic don't really go great together because the oil will pull out the toxin from the plastic. I got this product from a local Asian market. I mean, I think it was like $2. Super cheap when you're going to ethnic markets. I did a little research and it looks like if you roast the sesame seeds, they will actually release their oils a little quicker. So I'm going to pan fry them instead of roast them. It's hot. It's summertime. It's going to be crushed and flavorful and a lot less expensive than, I think it was $9 for a small container of the tahini at my local co-op. I'm just going to dry roast them. There is just probably about 7.5 ounces in here. So it was a total of 4 minutes on here. And you probably can't see on the screen, but a lot of the sesame seeds are starting to get toasted. And boy, does it smell yummy. Goes from toasty to burned really quickly. I was able to pull it off the stove and I'm going to dump it all in here. I have a Ninja food processor. I'm going to add a little bit of olive oil as well as a little bit of salt because I have a lot of sesame seeds in here. I'm going to estimate about 2 tablespoons and that might be like a half a teaspoon of salt on there. We're going to turn it on and I'm going to press the high button. What I did last week when I was making the black bean hummus, that the sesame seeds were not breaking down. I just decided to just add the whole sesame seeds and a little bit more olive oil, and it turned out great. There was still the flavor of the sesame seeds. I probably wouldn't have served it to anybody coming over. It was fine for my family. So, in a pinch, if you don't have tahini, you don't feel like making it, you can just add the sesame seeds, and it will be really wonderful. Wow, that was it. That did it. Yeah, that's amazing. That's got the right consistency. I could have put this in for 1 more minute longer. For my family and for today, this is good. I have to say the aroma of this is incredible. Having toasted sesame, that is so key. The 7 ounces, of course, plus about 3 tablespoons maybe of olive oil. This is the quantity that you get. I will be able to make probably 3 batches of the hummus with this. The black beans are done. I have waited 5 extra minutes for the pressure to kind of come down. But if you do not have an Instapot, let me show you what the little trick you have to do is. I use a towel and I vent it because I don't want the beans to continue cooking. They will get mushy. So I cover it up so that my light above here does not get steam directly at it. That was about 1.5 minutes of releasing the pressure. And so once that button's dropped, you do is then you're just gonna turn it and watch out because there's gonna be a lot of steam. And as you can see, oh, it is still boiling in there. So I'm going to grab some hot pads and I'm going to dump the extra liquid into the strainer in the sink so that these beans will stop cooking and they'll be at the perfect texture. These look amazing. I might have even done 41 minutes because some of the beans got a little overcooked on the bottom. I'm going to let these cool. I'm just going to separate the beans into 3 different containers. And then I'm going to show you 2 of the recipes we're going to make. I do estimate. I own a scale, but this is fine. It's just estimation. Take the bay leaf out and throw it away. So I'll just show you that is about what you're getting. You're truly getting more quantity here than you would in like the 3 cans. Here we are. You got 3 containers. What I would typically do is cool down 2 of the containers worth, and I would put it into a Ziploc bag or of some kind and make sure I get all the oxygen out and freeze too, so I can just take out one when I need it in the future. I am not going to freeze any because we're going to be using up all of these in my house this week because we're starting the Daniel fast. For the bean salad, I am going to need a little lemon juice in each. So I'm going to juice up this whole lemon. I'm just going to use about half of this lemon juice in each of the dishes we're making. Let's make the black bean hummus. We're just going to put equivalent to 1 can of the black beans in the food processor. I have these garlic cloves. You can use like 2 teaspoons of garlic powder if you do not have garlic cloves. I have some freeze-dried cilantro. You can use fresh cilantro if you don't like cilantro. You can use any herb that you like. I have parsley in my garden, so I just grabbed some parsley. Usually I might have broken it up a little bit beforehand, but this high power machine is going to really do a great job of pulverizing it. Do half the lemon juice, and then just start adding seasonings to your taste. We love cumin. I would normally put probably half a teaspoon in here. Good half a teaspoon of pepper. And I'm going to do a half a teaspoon of that. And then I'm going to grab the wonderful tahini that we made. The recipe does call for like a third to a half a cup of the tahini. So you can add more or less to your liking. And then some olive oil. And I'm going to say about a quarter cup of olive oil is going to go in there. I'm going to turn on my high power food processor, turn it on high. I need to add a little more olive oil because it is too thick right now. So maybe tablespoon and a half. And I'm going to add a little garlic powder. It's flat. I do like the herbs that are coming through, but it needs a little more punch. We really do like garlic here. Never have enough garlic. I do know for the regular tahini, it does tend to be a lot thinner than what I had made, but the amount, that sesame seed note that's in here right now is really good. You can see here, it's nice and thick. It's very wonderful and dippable. I am going to call this good for my family. You can obviously thin it down more with more olive oil or more tahini. Let's talk about making the black bean salad. And the key thing to making the salad amazing is getting the dressing perfect. Whether you're making a dressing for a black bean salad or for even a lettuce salad, these are some really key principles to keep in mind. One, you're going to want to have acid. So that is having some lemon juice that we already squeezed and any kind of vinegar. I'm going to use apple cider vinegar today. I really do love a good balsamic vinegar, but I don't think balsamic vinegar goes as well with the black bean. Number 2, you're going to want a fat. And I love using extra virgin olive oil. You can use a different fat that you like. I do prefer the taste of olive oil, and this particular bottle I get from Costco. It's actually single origin. I'm really surprised. So I stocked up on this when I saw this at Costco. Hopefully you can find this as well. The third one that you're going to want to do is add some sweetness. Maple syrup or honey is very common, but I don't want to add any sugar to this dressing. So just having some fresh herbs like cilantro and parsley, dill, chives, those work as well. Give a little bit of sweetness and it decreases some bitterness that might come through in dressing. The last category is salt. Using Redmond's real salt, you can use the salt of your choice. With those 4 components, you have a good balanced dressing. So if the flavor's off for you, just tweak one of those 4 areas to get the perfect flavor profile that you're looking for. I'm going to give you some culinary tricks. So if you want to have a good emulsion, like if you're going to make the salad and you're going to have it for the course of a week, adding a little bit of mustard will give this an amazing emulsion, and then the vinegar will not separate out from the olive oil. And really, like a teaspoon in what we're making today is going to be perfect. And another thing that I have found really boosts flavor is adding ginger. Now, I do love ginger and I use it in a lot of different dishes. The wonderful thing about ginger is it's great for digestion. So when you have beans and maybe you're not even used to having beans that often, having that little boost of ginger is going to help settle the stomach down, and it gives a great boost of flavor. I do go through a lot of ginger and I buy fresh bulbs. I think fresh is the best because it helps digestion so much. We just keep this around. I keep my bulbs on the countertop. It doesn't degrade as quickly as it does in the refrigerator. Sometimes if I'm not going to go through that much ginger in a week, then I will cut it up into cubes and put it in the freezer. Let's do the dressing. I love this kitchen utensil. I didn't think I would love it so much. It's perfect for chopping up your herbs. And because I love to add herbs into dressings, this is great. Add a tablespoon of apple cider vinegar. I have about 2 teaspoons of lemon juice in here already. I'm going to add a tablespoon of the olive oil. Oops, that's a little bit more than a tablespoon, and that's okay. Add a half a teaspoon of salt. All right, so we have our four components in here, but I'm adding that little bit of mustard, just going to do like a teaspoon. I am going to have the little bit of ginger. This is quite a bit of it. I love ginger, so we're going to add the ginger in here. I love pepper. I think pepper goes amazing all salads. My family's big into pepper, and I'm adding some garlic powder. I should have done this in a bowl, but this is going to work. That was literally all you need to do. So no sugar. Ugh, so much flavor. Now I'm just going to layer in vegetables and start building the salad. So I love to add onions, really gonna add some other fresh vegetables and just have fun. Side note, I did weigh the black beans and they weigh about 14 ounces. So that is, I believe, a little bit more than what you're gonna get from a 15-ounce can for the bean quantity, but that's how much beans that I'm using for this recipe. Cucumbers and the tomatoes, and just a little of banana peppers. They're pretty spicy, so probably only just going to add 2. We love onions. I love onions so much, I'm going to add some fresh chives. So fresh green bell pepper, I'm going to add about half of it. Now, just going to pour the dressing over top. Voila. Beautiful. It smells so fresh. Pairing the salad with fresh milk bread or barley or any wonderful grain, then you will get your complete protein and have a wonderful dinner. Or if you are having some meat, of course, any type of meat to go along with this, be a beautiful summer dish. Thank you so much for being here today. I really hope that you've enjoyed learning a little bit more about how easy it is to make legumes and knowing how incredibly healthy they are for you. Until next time, may God bless you and your family greatly.